Hi, everyone, and welcome to yet another really special Talking Insomnia episode. We have Caitlyn with us. Welcome.
Hi.
So, for those of you who don't know Caitlyn, you've been a client of mine in BedTyme actually, but also you've been quite active in the community, posting comments, helping other, asking questions. So many people will maybe recognize you from the comment section as well. But that said, thanks for being here, and feel free to start from the very beginning. When did you start having trouble sleeping?
Yeah, of course. I think I started having trouble sleeping around December of 2021, I would say. I was 18 at the time, and I was working in I was working at UPS. It's like a warehouse kind of facility, and I was also working night shift, and I'm still working night shift. But yeah, so the hours were kind of like 8:45 p.m. to like 6:45 a.m. at the time. And because it was December, that's peak season there. We're shipping a lot of packages. We were very, very busy. And so it was already a little bit of a stressful time for me. But I didn't really start having trouble sleeping until I started talking to my current boyfriend. And it's kind of strange because I've never really like heard of anybody having a similar story. I mean, of course they're very similar, like everyone's insomnia stories are very similar, but I'd never heard of anyone who started like dating someone and started having insomnia because of it. I mean, of course that can happen, but yeah, so we started talking, and it was my first relationship, and so I was like just like really nervous. And I don't know, I would just, you know, I would see him at work, and then I would like talk to him, and we hadn't even started dating yet. We were just like talking and chatting over like the phone. And I would just go home, and like I just couldn't sleep. Like I just would be so like excited, and like I would like kind of like ruminate on like the possibilities. I would like mentally review like things I had said throughout the day, like whether I'd said the wrong things and whatnot. But like it just a couple of days had gone by after we started talking, and I was just like, I don't know why I'm having so much trouble sleeping. Like it was just really not normal for me. Like I was honestly like what I would consider like a perfect sleeper before all of this. Like I would sleep a full like sometimes 8 to 10 hours every night, like never had an issue, wouldn't even wake up throughout the night most times. And so this was just really unusual for me, and it was started to really upset me really quick because like it was just really hard to go into work and have to do like a lot of physical labor on no sleep. And like a lot of people talk about on the channel, like I was going to work, and that's kind of like all I would talk about. Like I'd be like asking people what they did to fall asleep, if like they had like any problems that were similar to mine, if I could relate to them. And I ended up trying like NyQuil and melatonin. Those were like the first things that I went to. And sorry, my cat is out here and she's kind of moving the chair a little bit. But anyways, so I had tried a lot of over-the-counter stuff, and I mean, like it would work sometimes, and then other times it wouldn't. And it was honestly just kind of frustrating because I felt like there was something wrong with me. Like I just kind of felt like, why is this happening to me? Like I don't know any of my friends who stopped sleeping because they started dating someone. It was just very strange. Um, but I would say this really didn't stop, honestly. For months, I, couldn't sleep. Even after our relationship kind of like, we started dating and things like, tamed down, I guess is the word. But yeah, it just didn't stop. There was a lot of times where I would wake up and like I would just start crying next to him because like I didn't really wake up. I was just kind of like in a weird state of like, maybe in between sleep, or maybe I didn't sleep at all, or like I just dreamt for the whole night, and like I would just wake up and feel so fatigued. And that was probably the worst part of it, was the fatigue. I mean, a lot of times, like, throughout those months where I just wasn't sleeping, even after like we had gotten in a relationship and things were fine, probably from the months of like December to April ish was when I was kind of just struggling like, before I really started struggling. But I remember that I would like wake up after like just getting a few hours, or just getting nothing at all, and or feeling like I got nothing at all. And I remember feeling like I had weights on my arms and my legs, like it just, and like I felt like getting off the couch was even hard for me, because it just felt like there were weights on me, because I just was so tired. And it was really hard, because not caring. How am I going to put this? I think a lot of the solution is kind of like, kind of not putting so much emphasis on sleep. And that was something that was really hard for me whenever I hadn't found your channel yet. I didn't even know to do that, but it just, I put so much emphasis on sleep. I thought, if I don't sleep, I'm not going to be able to function. I might even go crazy. Like, I might start hallucinating. Like, it was just overall a very stressful time. And I thought I was never going to get better. And, I'm just going to keep talking throughout my story. Pause if you like would like to ask me anything, or if I'm going too fast. But,
Yeah, I actually just really quickly, uh, you were, there was a potential of this relationship happening. There was some excitement, and that led you to like not sleep so much early on. And like, the only thing I was going to ask was like, when did this become like, oh, I'm really anxious about this? Did it happen pretty quickly, or was that more a gradual thing that happened over time?
um, I would say it was a little bit, it's kind of hard to say. I'm a little bit removed from it. So like, it was quite a bit of time ago, but, I would say it happened kind of quickly. I actually noticed like throughout my like uh younger teenage years that every time like I would start talking to like a boy, and like I wouldn't sleep that night. Like, it was only just a one night thing, and I figured I was like super excited and whatever. I don't know why that happens to me. But this time it actually lasted, because the relationship lasted. But I would say it happened pretty quickly. I mean, it was after probably like a couple of nights or so, and I was like telling my mom, like, I don't know what's wrong, I just can't sleep, and that's when I think I started to buy melatonin and things like that.
Got it. And over these first like 3, 4 months here, was that mainly what you were sort of trying? Was it mainly over-the-counter supplements and things of that nature?
Yes, and I also, like, like a lot of people say here, like I tried the sleep hygiene stuff. Like, I was kind of like obsessively looking it up, and like one of the things I read is like, to try to like, read books before bed, and I found that like that did help me, I guess, a little bit. Like, it did relax me for sure, but I still recognized that it was like an effort, because I still wasn't getting amazing sleep. I would say that was probably like February through like April. I took melatonin. I actually went to the doctor, and they prescribed me a muscle relaxer. I really just, the doctor treated me like a joke. Like, I mean, I wish I hadn't even gone. I went there, and, he kind of sounded condescending. Like, he was like, "You can't sleep?" And I was like, no, I haven't been able to sleep for months. I don't know what's wrong. And, I told him my story and everything. And he was like, there's nothing wrong with your boyfriend, is there? And I was like, no, I swear. Like, I just don't know what's wrong with me. Um, and so he prescribed me like this muscle relaxer. It's called baclofen. And I literally saw nothing from that. Like, it never helped, never did anything. So yeah, I was trying the baclofen, I was using melatonin, I was doing NyQuil, Benadryl. I really went heavy on the Benadryl, which really is not that good for you to take like super often, but I was doing it anyways because I was really desperate, and it seemed to be the only thing that like really helped to like really calm me down, I guess. But yeah, I was doing a lot, but
Yeah. And maybe final question before we kind of continue your story. Like, what was my question? It was, oh yeah, you're still working nights.
yes, I'm still working nights.
All right. Okay. So yes, let's say that was all I had for now. So yeah, continue your story. What happened next?
Okay. So I would say that like around, I think it was like April, literally I think it was like the April 30th or the 29th. this was kind of like when things got like a lot worse for me, and like this is what made me really like seek out help. And this is how I found the channel actually. So I think around April 29th or 30th of 2022, my boyfriend and I were gonna have like a little get together at his place with like some of our work friends, and we were gonna have some drinks, and like just like everybody was gonna drink, and we were just gonna hang out, play games and stuff like that. And so, we did that, and it was great. We had a fun time. I think, we're all night shifters, so we ended up staying up until like 6 a.m. or something like that. Um, and I had been drinking a little bit, and then I ended up like sobering up before I went to bed. And so I went to go to sleep, and like, my boyfriend falls asleep like in an instant. Like he fell asleep super quickly, and I was just like, I don't know, just something. I really don't know what caused this. Like maybe it was just already feeling like I was in like a stressful like state of mind, and like, alcohol doesn't help. And I started panicking that I wasn't going to be able to fall asleep. And like I don't know, I must have had like a thought or something that was like, what if I don't sleep tonight? And it just really stressed me out. And I just remember not being able to fall asleep at all, and like I still had like that feeling of like alcohol running through me. And I just couldn't sleep at all that night. And I remember I started to have a panic attack, and like my heart started beating really fast, like my legs started shaking, and like, then the sun started to rise, and I was like, oh my gosh, like it's so late and I still haven't gone to sleep yet. And so I don't know, something about that was very like catastrophic in my mind. Like I just felt like I'd hit like a breaking point. And I stayed up until like 11 a.m. Actually, I think I stayed up until like 4 p.m. that day, but which is very late. But I stayed up until 11, which is when I woke my boyfriend up, and I was like, I literally don't know what to do. Like I can't sleep at all. Usually I would get like maybe a few hours, but I just couldn't get anything. Like, and I just felt really hopeless and scared about like what would happen to me if I just kept not sleeping like I did. And so I woke him up, and he was like, you should probably go. Like I live with my mom even still, but he was like, you should probably go back to your mom's, because he has roommates and they're always loud in the morning. And so I ended up doing that. I waited a long time, which is, I waited until like probably 1 p.m. to drive home, which I probably shouldn't have even done that, like on no sleep and having drank the night before. But I do regret that. But um, I ended up going home, and my mom didn't know what to do either. We had talked about it for a long time, but she didn't really know. So I went home and I tried to sleep, and it just didn't happen. And I was still stressed out, so stressed out about it. And time went on, and I just decided to get up, and I was like, I'm just going to go eat some food, or, do something throughout the day. But I couldn't stop thinking about sleep. Like it was literally on my mind all day. And, fast forward to the next night, I still like, I didn't even want to go in my bedroom. Like I was just scared of not sleeping. I was scared of being awake. I remember one of the nights, because I'm kind of skipping ahead of myself here, but this went on for a period of like 9 days where I couldn't sleep because I was having panic attacks. Before I would, like, right as I was falling asleep, I would jolt awake from a panic attack. And like I would just start shaking, and then I wouldn't, I would try to go to sleep again, and it just wouldn't happen. Like I was just so incredibly like hyper aroused, and my brain was active, very, very active. And so this did go on for about 9 days where I just couldn't sleep at all, just panic attack after panic attack. And one of the nights, I remember walking into my bedroom, and I just started crying because I just didn't even want to be in there. I didn't want to get in my bed. I didn't want to I wanted to go to sleep, but I didn't want to even try to go to sleep because I just didn't want to panic. And it was just such a terrible feeling. I just remember thinking about it. I couldn't get my mind off of it. That was the worst thing about it, was like I would try to distract myself. Like I really like reality TV. I would watch reality TV, like any show I could find to try to get my mind off of it, and it just was not working at all. And so eventually, after it was a really difficult 9 days. I mean, I never hallucinated or anything like that, but I did feel like extremely groggy. But I was terrified that I might start hallucinating. Like, I feel like a lot of people with anxiety kind of have that fear of like, what if I go crazy? What if, all these symptoms mean that I'm going crazy? And that's definitely what was happening to me. And I was just so worried that something terrible would happen. And so what ended up happening, I think the final night that, the last night that I had the panic attack, which I haven't had a panic attack since then, um, I had found your channel. I'm skipping ahead of myself again. I found your channel actually the first day that I had a panic attack because I immediately started going to YouTube and I was like, I need to find some help. I need to find some recovery stories. I need to find people who've been through this. And so that's what I did. And I just remember like scrolling through YouTube and one of your videos popped up and I was like, okay, I'll click on this. And then I watched it and like everything you were saying just made so much sense to me. Like, like how your brain is kind of seeing like being awake as threatening. And like that's why you're so like awake at night because your brain just sees this as something that's dangerous. And that just made so much sense to me. And like, I was like, I feel like this is it. I was like, I feel like this is what's gonna get me through. Like, I feel like this guy knows what he's talking about here. And so I ended up watching like some of the recovery stories, and I think it was Rob's in particular. I really liked his story. His was like released like right around the time I was going through it, and I felt like I could really relate to what he was going through. And it was just so great to find like a source of community and like know that I wasn't alone because I didn't know anybody in my real life who had gone through something like this. Like literally, I don't know a single person. I know people who have like, struggled with sleep and whatnot, but like nothing like that was ongoing for months and months and months and had panic attacks. But anyways, I found your channel and I had been chatting with you on BedTyme, and it was it was very, very helpful. It was so nice to have someone that like understood and was, you were very like just you sent a lot in your message and I really appreciated that. I actually remember like going up to my mom and I was like, look how much stuff he sent me on here. Like it's just so nice and so thorough and detailed. And I do believe like your messages helped me to get an understanding of what was going on, and that like led me to have an insight of my own, if that makes sense. um so getting to what I was saying, the final night that I had a panic attack, I remember I actually went to sleep with my mom because I just, like I said, I didn't even want to go in my own room. Like I couldn't even go in there like and like watch TV. Like I just didn't want to be in my room. It was just such a like place of stress for me that I just couldn't even fathom going in there, honestly. And so I went downstairs and like I slept with my mom, and she knew that I was struggling, and she was like, feel free to stay in here as long as you like. But my stepdad was where also works night shift at the same place I work, and he was going to be coming home early in the morning, so I was going to have to go upstairs into my room eventually. So I knew that, but I remember I tried to fall asleep and, same thing happened. I had a panic attack. I woke up and, you know, honestly, I just decided I was going to go to my room. I was like, my stepdad's going to be home soon. There's no point in me even staying here. Although it did help a lot. I loved, staying with my mom. So I went up to my room and I think I had like received a message from you. It was like, I believe it was like 10 a.m. my time. And I had gotten a message from you, and like I was really excited to read it because you were kind of like my only like solace throughout the whole thing. I was like, this is, the only thing that's really getting me through this right now, because I didn't even see a life ahead of me if, if this kept going. I didn't see like a future for myself being able to function, being able to, just sustain life, just not being able to sleep, or, in that dire situation, I was just having panic attack after panic attack, and it was just not ideal at all. But so this kind of led to like my big insight that really helped. This is honestly what I think cured me of my panic attacks. I just remember, I tried to go to sleep in my bed and it just wasn't happening. And so I think I turned on one of your videos and I was like sitting on the floor of my room, like against the wall. And, I was just crying. And, I was just like, I don't know if this is ever going to get better. No one was awake to really like talk to. And amongst my like suffering, I guess, I kind of had this thought to myself. I was like, what if you get in bed and you don't try to go to sleep? You just kind of lay there. And I don't know, something about that made me excited. I was like, oh, okay, I'm gonna do that. I'm not even gonna try to fall asleep. I'm just gonna lay in bed. If I fall asleep, that's great. If I don't, you're gonna survive. It's been like the best, or it's been like the past, you've been dealing with this for months. You're gonna be fine. And so that's exactly what I did. And I didn't have a panic attack. And that was kind of like almost like a revelation for me. I, after that, obviously there was still a lot of fear and I didn't sleep that night, but I didn't have a panic attack. So I woke up and I was like, this is such a win, like, or I got up. And so, yeah, I would say that's really what like my big insight is what got me through. I do think I was able to have that insight from like gaining understanding from like watching your channel and chatting with you on BedTyme, and just also understanding that a lot of the information out there about sleep is really just like, there's not a whole lot of evidence behind it. A lot of people, a lot of even like doctors don't know like about insomnia. And that was just comforting to know that, I was going to be okay. Like if I needed to sleep, I was going to go to sleep. And, my body was in that heightened state of just feeling like there was danger. And it just made a lot of sense to me. And it made me more okay with, just not getting sleep. And I just decided that I was going to start doing things that made me enjoy myself throughout the day. I knew I was going to feel tired, but I was like, I can't avoid this. Like it is what it is. And, I'm just happy I'm not panicking. But I would say after a few
And
months.
sorry to jump in there, Caitlyn, but thanks for sharing this in such a nice way. Like you're a great storyteller, and I want to ask you, during these like 9 nights where you had all these panic attacks and everything like that, were you off of work or did you still work, or what was happening daytime?
I think it started on a weekend. So the first 2 nights I had not gone to work, but after, I worked Monday through Friday. And after that, I did have to go to work during those days. And it was pretty terrible. It was awful. Like I said, all I talked about at work was sleep. Like I would just go in and I had one coworker that would talk to me about how he couldn't fall asleep on certain nights of the week for whatever reason because of something he had to get up for in the morning. And like I just talked to him about it all the time. And like I just remember coming in and I told him, like, on like my fourth or fifth day of like really not sleeping, I was like, I've gone 4 days without sleep at this point. I don't know how I'm still going. And he just looked at me and he was like, oh my God. And so, yeah, I mean, like I said, it was kind of the same thing where like I just, felt so fatigued and stressed, and I felt like I couldn't even make it throughout the night. It was honestly very, very awful.
Yeah, yeah, I hear it. I know. Thanks for sharing that. And like one of the most common questions I get is like, somebody says like, "How can anyone do this? Like, how do you go through a day if you haven't slept, for 2 nights or something like that?" And I always try to answer something like, "It's not easy, but people do it all the time." I don't have a better answer, but that's kind
Yeah.
of why I was answering you. But let me just quickly interject that if somebody asked you sort of like, "How do you do it?" What would you answer?
Well, it's kind of like you don't really have another option at the same time. Like, I mean, I had to keep working. Like, I didn't have any more time off. I had already taken a bunch of time off because of not sleeping. I didn't have any more. I would say though that like the best way to get through it is to find something that you enjoy and look forward to. Because otherwise it's kind of like your life is just filled with like negativity and stuff like that. Like for me, I really love coffee. Like, oh my gosh, I love coffee so much. And so like, I would get off work like real late and I would tell myself that I was going to go to Starbucks like after work or like any coffee place that was open at like 5 a.m., 6 a.m. I would go there after work and I knew that I was going to look forward to that. And like, I had more of a bedtime routine that was not filled with like sleep efforts anymore. Like, I wasn't like reading a book, although I do enjoy reading, but like that's not usually what I want to do before bed. I really like to watch Netflix. Like I would eat some food and then maybe drink some coffee. Usually I would try to get decaf coffee. And then I would go up to bed and, just if I fell asleep, I fell asleep. And if I didn't, there was literally nothing I could do about it. And I just kind of accepted that. And that was really what led to me getting better sleep was kind of acceptance and just letting go.
Hey, yeah, thanks so much for sharing this. And I want to sort of continue from that moment where you had that insight and you were kind of went to bed and you were like, okay, I can lay there. If I sleep, that's nice. If I don't, well, I'm going to survive. You
Yeah.
didn't have a panic attack. Sleep happened. And then what happened? What happened after that?
Um, I, you know, you've taught me this as well. And I've learned a lot about it just through learning about anxiety and things like that. It takes a while for your brain to get back to like the norm and like kind of like not register wakefulness as a threat anymore. It's not like it happened in an instant just because I stopped having panic attacks. Like, I would say it probably took a few months before I really started to see like consistent sleep again. Like, and throughout those few months, like it was difficult, just trying to be okay with it and just letting go and just doing whatever I could to honestly just stay happy, honestly. And that's exactly what I did. I mean, I hung around my boyfriend a lot. I hung around my family. I drank a lot of coffee. Just anything. I was honestly at that point doing anything to keep myself like just in a pretty decent state of mind, even though I was going through something that was kind of tough. So yeah, I didn't sleep a whole lot better for the next couple of months, although I started to get more like choppy sleep. I started to get a lot of like vivid dreaming sleep, like I always figured that was because like I was, my brain was going or I was going to sleep, but like my brain was still kind of active, kind of still registering danger. And I would say probably my panic attacks happened in May. It probably was around September, October that I started really seeing like good sleep. Like I would just come home and go to bed and I would sleep for like 6, 7 hours every night. And like that was blissful. Like it was truly, truly blissful. And, I was still like a little bit worried that like maybe a panic attack would come back, but now I don't care at all anymore. Like I even like think back to the panic attacks and I'm like, that wasn't even that bad. Like, I can do it. I can deal with it if it happens again. So,
Wow. Wow. I have a question for you, which I realize I don't think I ever asked anybody this particular way, but I think it can be helpful for the community. So now, like in hindsight, if we look at from like May through September, um, I'm gonna ask you sort of like two questions. In hindsight, does it look like it was sort of like gradually getting better or not? And in the moment during those months, did you feel like things were getting better or not?
I felt like they were getting better for sure, but at the same time, it was a bumpy road. Like, I never had a panic attack again, but like I would still have some nights where I just couldn't fall asleep and I was like still getting kind of frustrated with myself. But yeah, so I would say like there were some nights where I go to bed and, get a few hours and, be happy about that. And then there were other nights where I didn't get much at all and I would feel tired. But, knowing what I know, I was like, and what you've taught me, I just was like, I've just got to get through it. I've just got to, push through. And, that's really all you can do is just, keep going and, keep doing things that make you happy. I mean, that's really what got me through it.
Yeah, 100%. Wow. And from, let's say, September or so, somewhere around there, it seems like that felt like, okay, now this is pretty much behind me. Things are getting easier.
Mhm.
And after that, you haven't had much struggle, or have you had some speed bumps after that?
Well, in it seems like all of my problems happen in December for whatever reason, but this past December I started having some issues unrelated to sleep, but more along the lines of anxiety. And I've chatted with you about it over bedtime, and it was pretty difficult. I kind of had like what I called like the onset of like my OCD, like just a lot of like intrusive thoughts and things along those lines that started to really stress me out. And because of that, I was having trouble sleeping again. But I didn't consider it insomnia. Like I still, even during that time where I was like having trouble sleeping again, I still just I didn't consider it to be insomnia because I wasn't stressed about it. Like I was never stressed about not sleeping. Like I think at a point like at the onset of my OCD and just things that were really stressing me out during that time period, I just it was just very stressful, and I knew that that was the reason why I wasn't sleeping. And so like I wasn't stressed. I wasn't like, "Oh my god, what's wrong with me? Why can't I sleep?" I was just like, "Okay, you're in an anxious state of mind. This is why you're not sleeping well. It'll go back to normal. It'll be
Yeah.
okay." And even then I was sleeping pretty little for like probably only about a week or two. And I just wasn't stressed about it at all. Like I would just go into work and, I'd be tired, but I would just come home and be like, it's fine. I don't know. That's all I can really like describe it as. Like, it's just kind of like, it's whatever. I'm going to get to go to sleep again tonight. I'll get another try. And if I don't, well, like, I'll just find something that I enjoy doing tomorrow, you know?
No, that's so well said. And I just want to kind of like emphasize what you said and share this with communities. Like I see it exactly like that, that you really, that wasn't insomnia to me at all. It was
Mhm.
just like sleep disruption because something
Yeah.
else was, you know, stressful, right? And it
Mhm.
can be so odd, it can look so odd for somebody who's not kind of familiar with what we teach, etc., to say
Yeah.
like one person can sleep very little and not have any insomnia, whatever. And
Yeah.
another person can actually sleep a lot of hours, but still have insomnia because they're
Yeah.
still thinking so much and worrying about it. But yeah, so
Mhm.
just a little comment on that.
Yeah, for sure. I 100% agree with that. Like, I mean, even after that, I was able to, go back to normal. Like, recently I've been sleeping like pretty well. I'm on a different medication, for anxiety, and, it's been giving me some like vivid dreams, but, and so that's another thing. Like, I knew, I was kind of having those vivid dreams because of the medication, and, it doesn't stress me out. But I haven't felt fatigued at all recently, and I've been getting very decent sleep. I had a little bit of trouble sleeping last night because I was a little worried about this call, and also because my boyfriend was up all night playing video games, but that's another conversation. But yeah, I've been sleeping well recently. I would say I probably get 6 7 hours most nights, and it feels refreshing too. It's not like I wake up and I feel tired. I mean, I literally get off work and I'm like so tired and I just want to go to sleep and that's it. Like I used to like even come home and like want to like watch TV or like eat some food or like hang out with my boyfriend or whatever. No, like I just want to go to bed when I get home.
I hear. Very nice to hear. And I guess just two more questions. One is these have become my kind of like usual last questions to the guests, which is um, if you could, go back in time and tell yourself something while the struggle was intense. What would you tell yourself?
That's a hard question. I would probably just say, it's okay if you don't fall asleep tonight. Like that, it's okay. You're not going to go insane. You're not going to like, just lose your mind. You're going to be able to function at work. I promise. I would just say that to myself. Just, chill out. Like, you need to chill. That's probably along the lines of what I would say.
That's
Just,
funny.
taking it easy a little bit. It's really just not a huge deal. Like, we make it this huge deal in our minds, and it really is. It feels so real to us. But it's really not that big of a deal if you miss a night of sleep or 2 or 3 nights of sleep. It feels terrible in the moment. It really does. But you're going to be okay. Like, you're going to make it through, and you're not going to die. You're not going to, yeah, it's just, you're going to be okay. That's all I would really say to myself.
Super nice. Yeah. Well said. And finally, did you find, did you learn something from sort of the insomnia struggle that you found helpful in other areas of life?
Oh, absolutely. Just not pushing away feelings was something I didn't know before that I definitely learned after insomnia. Just you have to feel your feelings. You can't push them away. Like, this goes for, like, honestly any emotion, anger, like anxiety, sadness. You just can't keep pushing them away. It doesn't help. If anything, it makes it worse. And you just really have to feel it and let it pass. And that's kind of what you do with insomnia too. Like, you feel that anxiety and it feels absolutely awful in the moment, but you know feelings always pass, no matter what. It's just human nature. We'll always be sad sometimes, or we'll be happy one moment, or sad another, angry another, but that feeling's always going to pass. I never thought that insomnia was going to pass for me, but it did. So you got to feel it, you got to ride it out, you got to ride the wave, and then just live life. I mean, just let it pass you by, because it will go away.
100%. Yeah, I can't think of a better way to end our entry here. That was it. Well said. It will go away. Like everything else, it's fleeting, and when we stop
Yes.
resisting it, it becomes even more so. So
Yeah.
I'll just say thanks so much, Caitlyn, for being a guest, and
Yeah.
we'll be in touch. Okay.
Great.
All right.
All right.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.